Well, Mauricio Pochettino has basically indicated that this is his last window to evaluate players. He says he has a he says he has a player pool right now of 60 to 65 players. I think that's way too many, but
Yeah.
I understand the fact that there should be, some leeway for some of these guys that are on the fringe to play their way onto the team. And I think it's one thing to have a lot of your guys in there to see how they gel and get them going and get them gelling together. That's one thing that we had in the last window, save for COVID, right? We were able to bring in our guys almost every single window and have them work together to become a cohesive unit, and that's what we kind of saw for the group stage of the last World Cup. This time around, we're still in that phase where we're trying to figure out what kind of team we're going to put out there, right? And I think Pochettino is rightfully taking the time to evaluate some players. I think a lot of us would like to see some more of the regulars in there. But having said that, knowing what he has said about some of those regulars and why they're not in this particular camp, I'm a little bit more at ease with it. And so we use this as an evaluation period for this one. And he's kind of said after that, now he's going to start narrowing it down because you got to start doing it at some point. And as you mentioned, we're very close. There's only three, October, November, March, and then we're at the World Cup. Those are the windows that we have. You have a January camp where you can put some Major League Soccer players in there, but other than that, we got to start narrowing it down at some point.
Yeah, and I think part of it too. I think he might have mentioned, hey, look, somebody could get injured. Like, these guys aren't just all going to be, kind of frozen in ice from now until next June, and so things could happen there, and that makes sense. But like you said, I mean, when he threw that 60, 65 guys, I get that, but I don't know that. Do you think there's maybe he would just be better off just maybe don't put that number out there because it just gives people something to, just gives people something to react to and go, oh, 65 is you know what I mean? Like, do you think maybe just keep that to yourself and say the pool is it's still open?
Well, it's funny. I think that, and someone's going to check me on the math, but I think there's someone in the neighborhood of 55 or so players that he has called in since he took over last October, right? So that's a lot of players that he has seen in the national team in a short period of time. So
Yeah.
for him to say 60 to 65, the number is like a sticker shock. But when you think about it, you're like, okay, that's not far from what we've seen so far. But I think the reason why people are up at arms about it is because we've seen some of these guys on the national team, and I'm sure all of us have our opinions about the ones that we don't want to see on the national team moving forward, especially for the World Cup. But like you said, there's going to be opportunities for these guys to show that they can be a part of this lineup, as part of the 23 or 26, whatever it's going to be next summer. And I think on one hand, it's cool that he's giving these guys this opportunity, but I think a lot of us are in the boat of let's start narrowing it down now so that we can get the continuity together that we need. I don't want to sacrifice that for the World Cup. And right now, it feels like it's an either or choice because we're so close.